Hello, hello. Welcome to everybody that is watching, whether you are watching in the Clinical Connections Mentoring Facebook group, whether you are watching on Instagram, hello, whether you're watching on YouTube, hello, and welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Today, I want to talk about something that is often not discussed, especially among newer clinicians. And that topic is that subtle but powerful shift that happens a few years into your career. We're going to, so we all start with a very clear identity, right? The dedicated PT or OT ready to take on the world. But what happens when that single minded focus starts to change? What happens when we start to question our identity? And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So, for anybody new here, I am Dr. Jody Miller. I am a physical therapist and a mentor to PT students and new grads. I've worked in just about every setting that there is for PTs. I have done outpatient, I've done acute care, I've done home health, I've done pediatrics, I've done travel PT. I've worked in oncology. Most of my career was in skilled nursing facilities. I was a rehab director at a skilled nursing facility. I've done a lot of adjunct teaching and lab assisting. And now I own my own cash-based practice in Florida, where I work mostly with gymnasts and cheerleaders, and I'm also the owner of Clinical Connections Mentoring, which is where you are right now. What I like to do, if you're watching, please type live in the comments. If you're watching live, tell me who you are, where you're from. Same thing if you're watching the recording, tell me who you are, where you're watching from. I just like to know who I'm talking to. So to start, I want to ask you one question, and that question is, who are you? Tell me about yourself. Okay. If you want, you can go ahead and drop it in the comments, or you can write it on your own little piece of paper, but answer the question, who are you? Tell me about yourself. So for most of you, you have probably known that you wanted to be a PT for many, many years. Some people figured it out in high school when, they were an athlete, they experienced an injury in their sport, and then they had to go through rehab. Other people got inspired to pursue a PT or OT career when they witnessed maybe a family member or a close friend have to go through like a life-changing injury or a disease that led to months and months and months of rehab. So chances are you have been on this path to becoming a PT or an OT for quite a while now, a path that you had focused and determined has always been this one thing. This is what you were going to do. So you probably made it through undergrad, you've applied to PT and OT schools, you got accepted. Then you spent the next few years living, breathing, consuming everything that has to do with PT or OT, because you are the self-driven type that wants to be the best that you can be at your craft or your job. You are the dedicated, perfect student that's motivated to learn everything. You literally spent all of your time studying, reviewing, quizzing, making quizzes, reading, practicing lab skills, that you didn't have really a lot of time for anything else. This is how you defined yourself, right? You were a grad student working your ass off to become the best PT or OT in your area. Then came graduation, right? And do you remember the feeling you had after graduation? The passion, the drive, the belief that this career was going to be your entire life's purpose. You poured everything into it, your long hours studying, clinicals, studying to perfect your skills and all of your knowledge. You spent the last few years building a powerful professional identity, which is essentially the part of our self concept that relates to our profession. It's the I am a physical therapist or I am an occupational therapist part of your self narrative. This identity is super strong, it's well defined, and it's very central to who you are in the early years of your career, right? So, anybody who's just graduated, I probably just described you to a T, right? For those of you who are a few years in, you probably then, after graduation, spent a few years as a clinician doing much of the same thing. You attended CEU courses to learn all of the tools that you can put into your toolbox. You learned from coworkers and mentors. You watched influencers on social media trying to get new treatment ideas for all of your patients. You've spent a ton of time reading journal article after journal article just so that you can stay up to date on all of the most current, newest evidence, right? Because you're a physical therapist or an occupational therapist, you are going to be the best one that you can be. If you think back to the question I asked at the beginning, tell me about yourself. Did you start that response with, I'm a physical therapist or I'm an occupational therapist? It's okay if you did. It's just how you define yourself, and most people do the same thing. But somewhere around year 3 of being a clinician, a shift starts to happen. You still love your profession, right? But that all consuming pull to be a better clinician starts to kind of share some space with some other interests. Psychologists call this period a period of identity exploration. Okay. You start to realize that you're not just a clinician. You're also a friend, you're a family member, and you start to realize that you have a unique set of hobbies and passions outside of patient care, outside of your profession. Your interest in other activities starts to kind of grow, and you notice that you want to spend more time cooking or drawing or mountain biking or fostering dogs. You might find yourself thinking, I'm not just a therapist, I'm also a baker, I'm a hiker, or I'm someone who wants to learn how to code. Surprise! This is natural evolution. But it can feel very, very confusing because you've spent years, probably, 7, 8, 10 years dedicating your life to your profession and your career. The long nights studying in school, the weekends consumed with CEU courses and conferences, lunch breaks looking up journal articles, evenings picking up extra patients just so you can get more reps and more practice in. And all of a sudden, you feel more of a pull towards other interests and other things. This leads to an internal conflict, often referred to as identity diffusion. Okay. You fear that pursuing these new interests, you're somehow betraying the career that you spent so long building, right? You've dedicated, 7 years, 10 years, everything went into being the best you could be as a PT or an OT. And now all of a sudden you're starting to be interested in other things, and that can be really scary. You might ask yourself, if I'm not putting all my energy into my profession, have I failed? Or you may be asking yourself, have all those years of dedication to my profession been wasted? Another common question you might ask yourself is, am I giving up on this? And the confusion comes from the feeling that these two parts of your identity, the personal part and the professional part, are kind of in competition. You might even feel a sense of guilt for not being as on fire for your career as you once were. And oftentimes with guilt comes shame. And Brene Brown talks a lot about a lot of this in all of her books. So if you want more information on guilt and shame, go read her books. But you feel shame for wanting something different, and you feel guilty for feeling differently than you have in the past few years. And you really don't want to let others down, right? Your parents who supported you, probably maybe financially, definitely mentally throughout grad school, your classmates who supported you through school, your patients who expect you to provide them the best care, your professors who poured into you, helping you learn, teaching you everything you know, your boss who took a chance on you when they hired you and they spent a lot of time mentoring you. We don't want to let those people down either. So it makes sense that this new pull towards something new can be a little bit confusing. But I want to be clear that this is not a crisis. It's more a sign of a healthy, evolving person. So, this is the process of identity integration where you learn to balance and harmonize your different roles. So, your professional identity is very strong, but your personal identity is equally as important. Okay. When you embrace your personal interests, you don't diminish your professional identity, you actually make it stronger. So a well-rounded life leads to a more creative, empathetic, and resilient therapist. So a well-rounded life is going to actually make you be a better therapist. So hobbies like painting can actually improve your attention to detail when you're working with your patients. Or activities like hiking can teach you definitely about resilience and setting goals, and that can bleed into your work as a therapist. So these skills transfer directly into your clinical practice, making you even more effective and more fulfilled as a practitioner. So, anyone that commits solely to one thing and has tunnel vision, that's going to be all that they focus on. Someone that's open to learning and experiencing multiple things is going to be much more well rounded as a person and as a professional, especially a therapist. Okay. So I talk a lot about burnout here in my little corner of the internet, and going headstrong, tunnel visioned into your career is definitely going to lead to burnout. There are some people that it works for and they become phenomenal therapists, but they also kind of miss out on a lot of life, right? So, for the most people, if you go headstrong, tunnel vision into your career, everything about what you do from day in and day out is towards your profession, PT, OT, speech, you're gonna burn out. Okay. If all you do is read articles, attend endless CEUs to just be able to learn all the things, spend hours searching for the best exercise for your patient, or you're working multiple PRN jobs just so you can, on top of your full-time job, it's going to burn out. It's going to burn you out. So it's important to let yourself experience and try new things. It's okay to dabble in photography if that feels fun to you. It's okay to take a cooking class. It's okay to create an Instagram page that showcases your interest in interior design as you make your brand new house into a home. Okay. These are all good things and they're signs of personal growth. So you've spent years growing as a professional in the rehab world. You're now allowed to grow personally in other areas in life. Okay. And it is much better for your mental health to do this. So don't be afraid of this shift that's coming or has come, or you're currently in it 2 to 3 years after graduation. I want you to embrace that shift. You aren't just a physical therapist, or you're not just an occupational therapist. You are more than your profession, and your career does not define who you are. Your personal and your professional identities, they are not in opposition. They're actually essential parts of the entire whole you. Okay. So by nurturing all of your interests, you're not just growing as a person, you're also going to become a better clinician. So now I want to challenge you to answer the question again. Who are you? Tell me about yourself. But the challenge here is to start that response with something other than I am a PT or I am an OT. Okay. If you feel like sharing it, go ahead. You can DM it to me. Love to learn more about who you are, the whole you. Whoever's watching this, send it to me. I just want to learn about you. Okay. If not, it's a fun little exercise you can keep to yourself. But I want you to answer the question, who are you? Tell me about yourself. And you cannot start it with I'm a PT. Okay. I hope you learned something new today. Please go ahead and drop in the comments your aha moment or something that really stood out for you, something new that you learned today. I want to thank you for watching, whether you are watching on Instagram, whether you're watching the Facebook group, or whether you're watching on YouTube. If you have any questions about what I talked about today, please feel free to message me or leave your questions in the comments. I will definitely come back and answer. And I will see you next time.